Okay, so ready to dive into prepping for a deburring machine operator interview.
Let's do it.
We've got all those RoleCatcher resources ready to go,
Yeah?
and we're going to make sure you're totally prepped
Yep.
before you walk into that interview room.
Feeling good and confident.
Exactly. Now, have you ever thought about those, like, metal parts?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see them everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They're in your car, your appliances.
Everywhere.
They're perfectly smooth, no imperfections.
Yeah.
Well, Deburring Machine Operator is the one behind that.
That's right. Those are the folks who make sure every single part is
Yeah.
free from any rough edges or imperfections.
You're not just for looks.
Right. It's about how those parts function, too.
Huge role in manufacturing.
It really is. It's crucial.
So we're going to help you really showcase your skills for this role in the interview.
Yeah,
We're going to go over some of those common questions you might get hit with.
for sure.
We'll talk about the career itself,
Yeah.
and we'll even look at how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a little boost.
Love it.
So let's jump right into those interview questions.
Okay.
I think a really common one that a lot of hiring managers will ask is something like,
Mm-hmm.
can you explain your experience operating deburring machines?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds pretty straightforward, but what are they really looking for there?
Well, they want to see how comfortable you are with the process, with the actual machines.
Okay.
Don't just give a generic answer like, oh, I've operated deburring machines. Be specific. Talk about the types of machines.
Like what?
Like, have you used a belt sander, a vibratory finisher, maybe even a robotic deburring system? Tell them what materials you worked with,
Okay.
what kinds of parts, and if you can remember
Yeah.
the makes and models of the machines you've used, even better.
So it's about showing you've really got that hands-on experience.
Exactly. You know what you're doing. You're not afraid to get into the details.
Now, what if someone is pretty new to the field
Yeah.
and they don't have a ton of experience directly with deburring? What's the best way to answer that question?
Well, honesty is key.
Right.
But even without a lot of direct experience, you can still highlight transferable skills.
Right.
So think about it. Did you work with other types of machinery before?
Yep.
Talk about that.
Okay.
Are you good at following procedures? Being really detail-oriented?
Mm-hmm.
Any experience with quality control, those are all super valuable in a deburring role.
So you can still show them you've got what it takes.
Definitely. Even if you're just starting out.
Okay, good to know. Now, another question that I'm sure will come up is about safety,
Of course.
because safety in a manufacturing environment is crucial.
Huge.
So they might ask you something like, what safety measures do you take when operating deburring machines?
Yeah.
How do you really nail that answer?
It's all about showing that you're not just skilled, but you're responsible.
Right.
You're thinking about safety first.
Of course.
So talk about specific PPE, personal protective equipment.
Give me some examples.
Okay, so safety glasses, gloves, hearing protection,
Right.
steel-toed boots even.
Okay.
Talk about how important it is to inspect the machines before you use them.
Right.
Mention lockout, tagout procedures so you prevent accidents.
Yeah.
And a clean and organized workspace.
Oh, that's important.
So important.
Okay.
And if you have any safety training or certifications, definitely mention those.
Yeah.
It shows you take it seriously.
Shows you're proactive, too.
Absolutely.
Now let's move on to another important part of the job,
Okay.
quality control.
Right.
So they might ask you something like, how do you ensure the quality of the deburring process?
Yeah, great question.
How do you show them that you've got that quality control mindset?
You want to show them you're meticulous and you pay attention to detail.
Okay.
Explain that you inspect parts before and after the deburring.
Okay, so both.
Both. And then talk about the specific techniques you use to make sure everything is consistent and accurate. Are you using measuring tools like calipers and micrometers,
Right.
visual checks under magnification, or even running your fingers over the surface to feel for imperfections?
Wow. So you really get in there.
You do. Show them you understand that quality is key,
Yeah.
and you have a system to make sure those standards are met.
Okay, so it's not just about running the machine. It's about the whole quality process.
Exactly.
Now, things don't always go perfectly.
Oh, for sure.
So how would you answer this question? How do you troubleshoot common issues that may arise when deburring parts?
Yeah.
What are they looking for there?
They want to see you're a problem solver, not someone who panics when something goes wrong.
Makes sense.
Think of a typical issue.
Like, yeah.
Maybe the machine jams or you get an inconsistent finish, maybe a tool breaks. Walk them through what you would do.
Okay.
Would you check the machine manual first?
Right.
Would you look for anything that's obviously blocking the machine or wrong with the settings? Would you try to figure out what caused the problem before trying to fix it?
So it's about showing your thought process.
Exactly. That you can think logically,
Yeah.
that you can use the resources you have.
And knowing when to call for backup.
Right, when to escalate the issue.
Now, deburring seems like it can be a pretty fast-paced environment.
Oh yeah, it can be.
So they'll probably want to know about how you stay organized.
Definitely.
So they might ask, how do you prioritize and manage your workload when operating deburring machines?
Mm-hmm.
What's important about that question for them?
They want to know that you can handle pressure and juggle different tasks.
Especially when things are busy.
Especially then, when it's peak production time.
Okay.
So explain how you decide what to do first. Maybe it's based on deadlines,
Yeah.
the complexity of the task, or how urgent an order is. Do you use to-do lists? Scheduling software? Tell them. Show them that you're organized and proactive,
So you can keep everything running smoothly.
even when things get a little crazy.
Exactly. Now, if you have more experience, they might ask, how do you train and mentor new deburring machine operators?
Yeah.
What if you haven't officially been a supervisor?
Well, this is your chance to show them you have leadership potential,
Okay.
that you're willing to share what you know.
Hmm.
So tell them how you would onboard a new team member.
Okay.
What would you start with? Maybe basic safety procedures? How to operate the machine?
Yeah.
Would you break down complicated tasks into smaller steps?
Makes sense.
Would you give clear instructions,
Mm.
constructive feedback, create a supportive environment?
So even if you haven't officially trained someone,
Right.
you can still talk about how you would approach it.
Exactly. And you can talk about the importance of being patient, communicating clearly,
Yeah.
and creating a positive learning experience.
Okay, so highlighting those coaching skills.
Exactly.
Even if you haven't had that formal title.
Right, yeah.
Now let's look at a question that's all about decision-making. Can you describe a time when you had to make a judgment call when operating a deburring machine?
Yeah.
That one can be a bit tricky.
It can be.
So how do you answer it well?
The STAR method is your best friend here. Situation, task, action, result.
Classic.
Think about a time you had to make a decision on the spot.
Okay.
Maybe a machine malfunctioned or a part wasn't up to spec.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was a safety hazard.
Okay.
So describe the situation, what you had to do,
Mm-hmm.
what action you took, and most importantly, highlight the positive outcome.
So they see you can think on your feet
Exactly.
and make good decisions even under pressure.
That's what they want to know.
Okay. Now this industry is always changing.
Oh, for sure.
There's new technology coming out all the time.
Absolutely. Always something new to learn.
So how would you answer this? How do you stay up to date with the latest deburring machine technology and techniques?
Love that question.
Yeah.
You can really shine as a lifelong learner with this one. Talk about any industry publications you read, trade shows you've been to, online resources you use to keep up with what's new.
Mm-hmm.
Have you taken any extra courses or gotten any certifications?
Good point.
It shows you're really interested in your craft.
And that you take initiative to learn new things.
Definitely.
Okay, so continuous learning is a must in this field.
Absolutely. You got to stay on top of things.
Now, before we move on to the career side of things,
Okay.
let's look at one more question that I think is really important.
Sounds good.
It's about being proactive.
Love that.
So the question might be, how do you approach continuous improvement in your role as a deburring machine operator?
Yeah,
So not just doing the job,
right.
but doing it even better.
Finding ways to improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you answer that?
You want to talk about how you identify areas where things could be better?
Okay.
Maybe it's efficiency, maybe it's reducing waste, maybe it's improving quality or safety procedures.
So you're looking at the whole picture.
You are. Maybe you spot a bottleneck in the workflow. Or a way to streamline a task. Even small improvements show you're engaged and thinking critically.
It's about taking ownership and being proactive.
Exactly. That's what they want to see.
Now, I know RoleCatcher can be super helpful when it comes to these interview questions
It's a game changer.
because it can help you really tailor your answers.
It can. Imagine having AI that analyzes the job description and tells you exactly what skills and experience to focus on in your answers.
That's incredible. So you stand out from the crowd.
That's the idea.
And it's not just about what you say, right? RoleCatcher gives feedback on your delivery too,
Oh, yeah.
so you can practice.
Yeah, practice your answers to those common questions.
Mhm.
And the AI will tell you how you're doing, your pacing, your tone, your clarity.
Almost like a mock interview.
It is, but you can do it from home.
So much less pressure.
For sure. It really helps build confidence.
Okay, so you're prepped and ready for those questions.
How did it go?
But before you start practicing with RoleCatcher, let's zoom out and talk about the career path itself.
Love it.
What kind of opportunities does this role open up?
Let's explore that. So we've covered a lot of ground on those interview questions.
We have.
But now let's talk about where this role can actually take you.
Yeah, what kind of opportunities are we talking about here?
You might be surprised. It's a field with a lot of potential.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, deburring machine operators,
Yeah.
they're in high demand these days.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Manufacturing is huge.
Makes sense.
And they need skilled operators to make sure things are precise and high quality,
That needs.
job security, good prospects for finding work.
Okay, so it's not just a job, it's a career.
It really is a career with staying power.
I like the sound of that. Now, what about salary?
Yeah, good question.
Can you earn a decent living doing this?
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know.
Of course, it varies depending on experience, location, even the industry and what you specialize in. But in general, deburring machine operators can make a good living.
Okay, so you can pay the bills, and then...
And as you get more experience, you
Yeah.
can specialize in certain techniques or machines, maybe move into a supervisory role,
Okay.
and then your earning potential goes up even more.
So there's room to grow.
Definitely.
So what does that growth look like?
Well, you could start as an entry-level operator,
Yeah.
and then with experience and maybe some extra training, move into more specialized roles, like robotic deburring, for example.
Oh, that's pretty high tech.
It is.
Yeah.
And those skills are in high demand.
Makes sense.
Or you could get really good at a specific deburring technique, like abrasive flow machining
Okay.
or electropolishing.
So you become the go-to expert.
Exactly.
That's cool. What about leadership opportunities?
Well, as you gain experience
Yeah.
and show those leadership qualities, you might become a team lead.
So you're supervising others.
Yep. You'd be training new operators,
Yep.
making sure quality control is happening, and you might handle more complicated troubleshooting.
So you're moving up the ladder.
You are, and from there you could even move into management.
Wow. So from working with the machines to managing whole teams.
That's right.
That's pretty amazing.
It is. And the thing is, they always need skilled and experienced people in this field.
So there's room to grow.
Absolutely. The potential is there for anyone who's willing to put in the work.
To learn and grow.
Exactly. To take initiative, to be dedicated.
So we've got the demand, good salary, lots of career paths.
Yeah.
What else should someone considering this field know?
Well, one thing that's really interesting
Yeah.
is how much technology is being used in deburring.
Oh, right, like robots and automation.
Exactly. And computer-aided manufacturing.
So it's not just about manual labor anymore.
It's not. And that can seem intimidating to some people.
Yeah.
But it's actually really exciting.
How so?
Because it creates new opportunities for anyone who's ready to embrace those advancements.
So you have to be adaptable, open to learning new things.
Exactly. That's key in any field these days, but especially manufacturing.
So how can someone stay ahead of the curve?
Never stop learning.
Okay, be a lifelong learner.
Yes. Read trade publications, go to workshops,
Yeah.
take some online courses on new technologies.
So you can stay up to date.
Exactly. Some employers even offer training on the job.
Oh, that's great. So they invest in their employees.
They do. It benefits everyone.
So being proactive is key.
Absolutely.
And speaking of proactive, I can't help but think about how RoleCatcher can help with all of this.
It's the perfect tool. Remember how we talked about tailoring your answers to each job?
Yes.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze the job description and tell you exactly what skills and experience to highlight.
It's like having a personal career coach.
It is. It helps you put your best foot forward.
And the feedback feature is great too.
So helpful. You can practice those answers, get feedback on your pacing, your tone, everything.
It takes the pressure off.
It does. You can get comfortable with the material.
Okay, so RoleCatcher can be a real game changer.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
what do you think makes this career path so compelling?
That's a great question.
Why should someone listening be excited about this?
Well, I think it's the combination of technical skill and craftsmanship.
Okay, explain that.
You're not just operating a machine, you're using your knowledge, your precision.
Yeah.
You're transforming raw materials into finished products.
So you're making something.
You are something that's used in tons of different industries.
So it's meaningful work.
It is. You're helping to create the things we use every day.
Wow. From cars to airplanes to medical devices, electronics.
So you're part of something bigger.
Exactly.
That's a pretty powerful feeling.
It is. And the best part is,
Yeah.
it's always evolving. There are new technologies and techniques all the time.
So you'll never be bored.
Never. There's always something new to learn.
Always a new challenge.
That's right. You can really make your mark on the world. Okay. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the demand,
Yeah.
the salary, the career paths, the technology. Anything else people should keep in mind?
Well, here's something to think about.
Okay.
As more and more robots and automation are used,
Yeah.
what are the human skills that will always be important in deburring?
Interesting question.
How can people develop those skills to be successful even as the technology changes?
It is a really interesting question.
It makes you think.
It does, because, yeah, more robots and automation are coming.
For sure.
But some human skills will always be needed in deburring.
I think you're right.
Like critical thinking, problem solving, being adaptable,
Yeah.
having a good eye for detail. Those are hard to program into a machine.
Right. Those are uniquely human skills.
Exactly.
Why are those so important in deburring specifically, though?
Well, deburring, it's not always so straightforward, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Every part is different. The materials have their own challenges.
Right.
There are so many things that can change how it all turns out.
Right.
So many variables.
Exactly. So a good operator,
Yeah.
they need to be able to look at each situation, spot potential problems, troubleshoot on the fly.
So you have to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah, you can't just rely on a set program. You need to be able to adapt.
Makes sense.
And that's where human ingenuity really shines.
I like that. Human ingenuity.
A machine can follow instructions, but it doesn't really get those nuances.
Right, like what?
The little variations in materials.
Okay.
Or why that perfect finish is so important. A good operator can see things a machine would miss. They can feel imperfections.
Wow, so they're using their senses.
They are, and they can make those tiny adjustments that a machine just can't.
So it's a combination of skill and art.
That's a great way to put it.
So for someone who wants to get into this field,
Yeah.
even with all this new technology,
Right.
what can they do to build those critical thinking and problem-solving skills?
The most important thing is to keep learning.
Be a lifelong learner.
Yes. Don't just learn how to use the machine, go deeper.
Learn about why deburring works the way it does, the different techniques, the materials, what affects quality.
It's about that deeper understanding.
Exactly. Take every opportunity to learn, read industry stuff, go to workshops,
Yeah.
connect with other people in the field.
So you build that network of knowledge.
The more you know, the better you can solve problems.
Right. And adapt to new technology.
And make good decisions.
It's not just about working with your hands, it's about using your brain, too.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so rewarding.
You're right. It's a field where you can keep pushing yourself,
Always learning.
and you get to see the results of your work.
It's tangible, you know.
So we've talked about why deburring is so important to manufacturing, how it's a stable career with lots of opportunity for growth,
Yeah.
how it lets you use your skills and your creativity.
And you're creating something.
Right. And let's not forget,
Yeah.
you're helping make the products we use every single day.
Exactly. It's pretty cool when you think about it. Okay, so before we finish up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone about RoleCatcher.
It's such a valuable resource.
It can really help you in your job search.
Whether you're working on your resume and cover letter or practicing for those tough interview questions.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket.
It really is. So if you're serious about becoming a deburring machine operator,
Yeah.
don't forget about RoleCatcher. It can help you stand out.
Be your secret weapon.
Exactly.
Okay, so to wrap things up,
Yeah.
if you want a career that combines technical skill, problem solving, and the satisfaction of making high-quality products,
Yeah.
then Deburring Machine Operator might be the perfect fit for you.
And the need for skilled operators is only going to increase.
Right, even with all the new technology.
So keep learning, keep growing.
And don't be afraid to jump into this exciting field.
The future of manufacturing is bright, and deburring is a big part of that.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Deburring Machine Operators.
It's been fun.
We hope you learned a lot and feel ready to take the next steps in your career journey.
We're here to support you.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.